say good morning to our listeners. Let me say good morning to our viewers. Welcome to The Point. I'm your host, GT. Hope all is well with everyone this morning. Up and about and running. It's Monday, the 18th day of August, 2025. Let me say good morning to Mr. Sylvan McIntyre, who is with me this morning. Good morning to you, sir, and how are you doing?
Good morning to you, GT, and by extension, the GBN family. I am doing good. I am very well.
All right. Let me say good morning to our social media platforms this morning. Those of you listening and viewing via those platforms, let me say good morning to you and welcome also. Hope you had a great weekend and you're looking forward towards a productive week ahead for everyone. As a whole. So McIntyre, last time we was around here was it a week or so ago?
Almost two. It was the week before Carnival.
The week before Carnival.
Yeah.
Carnival was wrapped up. All in all, folks are saying it was pretty, incident-free rolled out.
You can't say it was quiet.
It wasn't quiet, rolled out incident-free.
Yes.
Carnival is noise, so there was noise.
Absolutely, yes.
So we can't say the quiet part of it.
Right.
And of course, we wanted to, I didn't mention to the RGPF the last time they were in the program, I said, I wish I could get a Carnival when nothing happened.
Yeah.
Yes. And the officer would say, that would be nice too, but sometimes there are also individuals who will just look at things differently and want to do things differently.
Yes.
But all in all, they didn't mention it was one of those Carnival where their work was not too cut out for them.
Yes.
To a point.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't have things to do,
right,
but not at the level that, at some years where incidents of violence and so was escalated so much that they had to put a lot of energy into that. It was not at that level this year. So we want to send out the love to everyone who themselves in that particular way.
So that was one of the angles of the flowers we were going to give this morning.
Yes.
In terms of the law enforcement and how astute they were to their function and how proactive they were in their planning. And I think there were a lot of contributing factors, but we want to give them their flowers this morning. I think they did a fantastic job.
Yes.
People spoke about their presence, how assertive they were, how vigilant they looked when they went through. In St. David's in particular, they spoke of, seeing them on the ground. I did see them as well. And for Juve morning, it is one of the times when you saw almost the entire administration of the RGPF for on ground.
Yes.
The commission, Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Head of the Special Services Unit, Head of the Special Branch, and so on. These guys were on ground, and that speaks volume for itself. I think it gave the junior officers the confidence that the hierarchy was there and they had the support right at hand.
Encourage them to keep their standard up also.
In addition to that, people spoke of their presence throughout the bands. Throughout the years, there have been police officers that were appropriately clad to move among the masqueraders.
Yeah.
This year was no exception, but I think they were more obvious in this sense where it's an overt kind of operation where they were dressed in their black, looked the path, and so that when people moved around, the visitors felt a sense of security, and those who were around who would be violators, I think they took a cue from that there is a no nonsense.
Yes, so it didn't deter them from whatever thoughts
it did deter them.
Yeah.
And I remember on a previous program we spoke about what can happen when there is a hype before Carnival, when there seems to be some level of violence that pop up before Carnival. The system at bay normally would step its game up.
Yes.
And so they understood. Remember, we did say that the threats were real.
Yes.
But usually when there's a high threat, the level of awareness and security consciousness is also stepped up. And that would have lent itself to the aspect of being on top of the game a bit more. And so it's just like when you prepare for any kind of emergency or types of disasters. When you don't have these things happening, a level of complacency steps in. And when it pops, it hits you really hard on the stomach. But because we had things popping up before, I believe the officers were on the game. And flowers to you, kudos, RGPF, keep it up. You can only get better at what you do. And enough respect. I think we need to respect you for what you do and how you got it done.
I certainly share those sentiments where you're coming from there also, because it gives you a sense of being able to do what you do with a level of normalcy.
Yes.
To a point,
Yes.
And I've been listening to a lot of the visitors who came to Ireland. Saying, I've never seen islands so peaceful. We're always peaceful.
Yeah, we're supposed to be peaceful,
we
still we are referred to an island of as an island of conflict. Because the thing about us, we can rise to different occasions.
Yes.
Grenadians could be very, very quiet now, and something take you off to one angle, and then you rise to it.
Yeah.
Let's take, for instance, I think we were speaking off air about Carnival in its sense and how it went. We want to crown it up that it was a peaceful Carnival.
Yes, it was.
Very, very peaceful. But we think in a lot of ways people's expression is that a lot of the essence of true Carnival is getting washed away.
Yes.
And I think the organizers really have to look at that.
Yeah.
Those who support Carnival and who are really into Carnival will give you their own impression. But we think anything that is overdone is watered down. And when it is watered down, it loses its taste, it loses its essence. So while the visitors may come here and they would say that we enjoyed Carnival, we love your jab, we love you. But if you're doing jab every month, if you're doing Carnival for 7-8 months of the year,
that element that you're looking
that
for,
element and that spring, product, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. And so I think the authority has to watch that very carefully and manage the aspect of the pre-Carnival days.
Yeah.
There's two weeks of really main Carnival activities from that week of the 1st of August all the way back to like this week.
Yeah.
The end weekend gone.
Yeah.
To me, that was the end of Carnival. and so I think the authority need to really look closely at that. Yeah. It has implication for all of the security aspect, road safety and everything inclusive. So if we are able to not go back to the past, but to create some safety net for preserving your culture. If something seems to be happening every day in your face, you tend to lose the flavor for it and the taste for it. So they have to be able to manage that and say, when we need to spring our culture, what we have, we're going to spend enough time preparing it that it has the impact that we want it. But if you keep doing it all the time, every day and all of that, people say, man, same old.
I agree.
And I think there are a lot of aspects of Carnival that need to be diversified if we say that that's part of our culture, it's part of showcasing our history, emancipation moved right into it and all of that, then I think more thought has to be given into it. And how it is decentralized across the St. David's, the St. Patrick, and the western side. Yeah. Some people will give you a feeling that you get more something of the Carnival vibe from that rural outside area. You
because
get more of a local feel.
Some of the off activities were not so prominent over there that much.
Right.
Not saying you didn't have any,
yes,
but the constant of it every weekend is this and that. It was not as much there as it were in other parishes.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
For St. George and maybe St. Andrew, but there was not that much happening. So when you do get to the time for Carnival, you feel what is necessary. So you get that different feeling from it.
Yes. So we want to give general kudos, I think, to Grenada, Carrico, and P.T. Manning, all those who participated. We owe it to ourselves that when we do good, we get the tap on our shoulder and try to do better. If we are not very violent around this time, we have the ability to be peaceful.
Yes.
And we are known for being a peaceful and tranquil country.
Yeah.
We need to be able to maintain that.
I certainly hope when the authorities, whether it's the police, the corporation, the Spice Mass corporations, will do that review, they will see aspects of it that needs to be tweaked a whole lot.
Yeah.
So 2026, we should see some changes in terms the overall product that what is offered.
Right.
Get a tweak in it, and probably we could come and talk about that next year.
Yeah.
God forbid that we still here.
Yeah, but for us, GT, and we have our own angle. Despite we can touch any topic.
Yeah.
But our angle is always looking at the safety issues. We always thinking about road safety. We always thinking about if something happened in the middle of all of this. And I think on this occasion a little bit better, there was some more safety issues incorporated in the whole aspect. But what we're looking for is that more entities get on board and people are going to be able to promote safety issues a bit more. An expansion, and we're going to speak a bit more on that this morning, is how we're going to take the safety issues deeper into Carnival and go beyond.
Yes.
So while I want to commend all of the winners, the ladies who won St. John, congratulations, the St. Patrick Patrick soca, calypso.
Is it St. David?
St. Patrick is calypso.
Calypso, yes.
Yeah, and St. David is the soca. So we want to really give them really kudos for all of these, and so for those who did not win. But also, when we speak of the aspect of crime and safety issues, music and words has its own power. Yeah. And I think this year, the quality of the songs, they were a lot, in terms of the calypso in particular, they were very coming patriotic, sympathetic aspect of things, nostalgic in a sense, where they were speaking of some of the real social issues. Okay. And they were highlighting in a subtle way aspects of the social issues and commending, giving flowers to people. You know, I heard a few of the songs, merely making reference to identifying, particular groups, caring for. I heard about women. I heard about the social and domestic issues, and so highlighted and all of this. And that in itself is a plus. Even in one of the power soca, one guy specifically spoke about giving flowers.
Yes.
Yes. And showing recognition.
Was it groovy, more or less?
I think that was in the groovy
aspect.
Was it?
Yes, groovy.
Yeah.
There was double song reference to flowers.
Yes.
Show that appreciation to me while I'm
alive. Right. Correct.
Yeah.
And I think. If you look through the songs really carefully, a lot of them, some of them had a little bit of mudslinging in them, but they were not totally abused in that sense. Being disrespectful. Okay. Even though there was the subtle ways of the innuendos in them that you had to decipher what they actually meant. But I think they were a different level of consciousness. The quality of the music lend itself maybe to the people's behavior. So when you go down disrespecting people in words and songs, you generate a sort of adrenaline, an enzyme that goes negatively to a reaction. So when it's a bit more positive, it's a bit more neutral. Yes, it tends to give a different flavor and feeling across
the board.
So I think a lot of things may have lent itself to that. But I was saying, in terms of expanding the carnival into safety, I want to probably look at, from our foundation's point of view in our company, to look at how we can use the winners to promote safety, road safety in particular. I agree,
and that's something you could look into a whole lot.
Definitely.
Because they have a particular level in society that people look at them at.
Absolutely, at least for 1 year.
Particular individuals are here promoting certain aspects of security and safety and so forth. Mm-hmm. It sprung a different reaction than what you will normally get.
Yes.
Before we move on, we do for a break, but I want to ask you, of course, you and your team had the initiative for Juve and so forth. How was that?
That was good. We didn't have the excitement in terms of the number of responders, volunteers. Yeah. Understanding too that it's a difficult time when a lot of people want to be in carnival. But those who showed up and so on, we really committed, we were at the positions are waiting. And there was little or nothing to do with, again, obviously, but the response system was there. And I want to say thanks to the Youth Emergency Action people and the persons from Glen who actually show up on the interest for responding to that situation, which is cool. Yeah. It only shows that we can build, and health was on. When I spoke to them, they really appreciated it. When I spoke to the police as well, they were really high in terms of that's an extension of what we can do to ensuring that Grenada is kept safe. And if there were situations where obviously we had to respond or deal with situations, it was going to be complemented. I got some new equipment, some stretchers and so forth that came in, and we were prepared in the event we had some situations.
I'm happy that you didn't have much work to do, as I would say.
That's a plus.
But your presence was there just in case there was a need for that we had to do something.
Absolutely.
Your presence was there, and that was a plus there also.
Big thing for Grenada.
All right. We do for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, of course, we continue our conversation. As we move along in our conversation this morning, our listeners and viewers, of course, if you want to contribute, of course, we're not going to wait until the latter part of the program this morning. Good. If you want to contribute in terms of our conversation this morning, something, maybe aspects of our conversation that you hear that you want to contribute to, or something you want to bring to the fore that we can expand on, so McIntyre more or less, feel free to do so. 435-2041. After the break, we'll be right back. Don't touch it out.
REMEC, Community Partnership Initiative.
Lions All Mass preserves the culture of Grenada. All Mass is basically portrayals of what is happening in our countries on a day-to-day basis. Running events like these require a lot of resources. I just want to take the time to tell Glen a big thank you from the Lions Club of St. George's for being one of our sponsors in Old Mass over the years.
Glen, energizing our community.
Are you ready to take charge of your money, build wealth, and protect your family's legacy? Then join us on October 9th, 2025 at Radisson Grenada Beach Resort for your Financial Future 2.0 Legacy, Literacy, and Liberation, a one-day financial summit designed to break cycles, build wealth, and leave a lasting legacy. You'll gain real-life budgeting hacks, a money mindset reboot, steps to create generational wealth, and practical tips on investing, estate planning, insurance, health, and business finance, all from expert speakers who know how to turn knowledge into action. With 2 inspirational keynotes, 3 powerful panel discussions, and 6 breakout sessions, you will leave with your personalized action plan for success. Don't wait. Secure your seat today. Tickets are EC $350 at disruptiveleadershipconference.com/YFF. Your Financial Future 2.0. Your next chapter starts here.
Stumps ready? The biggest party in sports is back. It's Republic Bank CPL 2025. Bowls off August 14th to September 21st. 34 matches, 6 teams, 6 nations. Your Caribbean cricket frenzy. From big sixes to deadly yorkers, catch every boundary, every wicket, every moment. Live on GBN TV and Classic Radio. This is not just cricket. This is CPL 2025. Don't miss a ball.
GBN's broadcast of CPL 2025 is made possible by Republic Bank, Hubbards, Glen, Echo Blue Limited, Demerara Mutual Life, Answer Coatings, and Flow.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again to The Point here at Classic Radio GBN TV. And myself and Mr. Sylvan McIntyre here this morning. And of course, we not a total open line situation this morning. I see the phones already
but
going.
we're given an expanded
opportunity as we go along with the conversation this morning. If you do have an issue you want to bring to the phone, now we can help expand on maybe a little for clarification or something.
Yes,
we
sure.
certainly will entertain that this morning. Let's entertain this first caller before we get deep into the conversation. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
GT, good morning. Good morning, Mr. McIntyre. How are you all doing?
We're doing good.
We're doing good. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thanks. Mr. McIntyre, I want to ask, there's a bit of concern on my mind.
Yes, ma'am.
The humps in the road, regarding the traffic, the humps in the road, and they are not painted. As a driver, and you're a driver too, it's very difficult.
Right.
You're driving and you're going over. What can we do about that? And the other thing I want to suggest regarding the carnival, my vehicle got jab, which I was only going to visit somebody.
Right.
And the road was blocked, and I was trying to pass, and the guy did rub up on my vehicle. And a new vehicle, I just get it a month.
I know.
1 month, GT. And hear what? I'm suggesting that if the people, we cannot please everybody, but if they want to showcase their talents and so on, can't they go to the park, to some places, and if it's the park, wherever, and everybody will go there and enjoy. So we, like me, who not in the carnival, are going plan A to plan B free, and they who like the carnival before carnival, they could enjoy it in the park. This is just my opinion. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. And can I understand where the caller is coming from?
Yes.
But because of the history of things,
right?
It may be hard to divert now.
Yes.
Maybe take the parades and something off the streets and put in an isolated area where folks. But there's not much areas that you can do that, especially in some parishes.
Yes.
You understand?
There was consideration given to that, particularly during COVID.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was approached to sit on a committee to look at how Carnival could have been decentralized in a controlled area, and COVID being one of the factors where you have it controlled. I know there are places like Canada and other places, where they have designated fenced-in baseball or other field area where you have the Juve and the Carnival setting is on the inside. I'm not too sure we can implement that here in Grenada. It would be that's why I said, because of the history and how things have been done before, it may be kind of difficult to get folks. Don't do it on the streets, get it done there, which could be better to a point where it's in a centralized area, folks having their fun there, and it doesn't hinder the movement of traffic and all of these things. Yes,
but I think that may be a little bit of a challenge.
The traffic challenge, it goes without saying, it's Carnival and you should expect some inconvenience, and to me is the extent to which and the route that you choose on Carnival period would make a major difference. Carnival to a large extent has gotten to the point where it's much more controlled than it was in the past. Remember one time Carnival and Jab were right in the city, and they used to smear and damage the buildings right in town. Now that is controlled. It has been taken away from just in the city of St. George, so no masqueraders are expected to go into town. It is now there's a designated area, and still consideration is being given to how you can even control that further. So people have to understand the designated area, the roads that will lead to and from the Carnival masquerading event, and so during those times you need to avoid them. If you don't have to readily move, then you should.
If you don't need to drive, you don't.
It's a time when your tolerance level should be balanced a little bit different in terms of, it is Carnival.
So I gotta expect those delays and so forth. And she did mention also about the humps in the road, but
the humps in the road. Yes, ma'am. I do understand. We've raised this many times on our programs, but what has been expressed to a large extent is the availability of the resources to keep them painted. I don't know if getting the material now is better, but I did see some effort over the weekend for painting some of the pedestrian crossings in the Grandlands area in particular. I don't know if it was a group of volunteers who were doing that. There was one obvious police officer, and there were other persons who were painting the pedestrian crossing.
Sometimes the bus association do assist sometimes,
and that's one of the things that we advocate strongly for. It doesn't have to be the responsibility. Well, the work of the police and some. Well, it's the responsibility of communications works department. Really, they have override responsibility. Along with the police, they would do that. But if we utilize our voluntary resources across country, we could get a lot more done in a quicker time. And so I think there's an angle now. There's an approach through the community policing initiative and different community groups to get involved and to give up the effort and time to do that.
We do have another caller, but I just want to ask you this quickly. In my observation, I know I'm not sure the relevance of it, but sometimes there are areas where there are those humps, and I think, in my opinion, it causes the slowdown of traffic even more.
Oh yeah, it does.
Right. I don't know if the authorities could look into it, especially at peak time when traffic needs to move a little faster, and every time a particular vehicle spends a couple of seconds to go over it, it slows the traffic down a lot. Maybe some consideration moving, having them removed or something, or maybe have traffic police or the wardens there maybe could help in terms of moving it even faster, because sometimes just the way of stopping to go over those humps causes those slows back up.
I think we mentioned this on our program before in terms of revisiting where humps were created. The volume of traffic definitely is different now. The type of vehicles, they have been diversified in so many different ways that we believe that, especially in the city areas, that the humps should be revisited. Police should be more vigilant in maintaining the law and order on the streets, and so not necessarily the physical features to be able to control traffic. The traffic should be able to flow. So we think that, especially in the city, in the town, that some of these humps, they don't serve their purpose anymore. They probably should be removed. And other places, then I believe so. Like they did in Dusty Highway, people speak about it, but the Dusty Highway, you have to get used to it, basically, to help move the traffic in the south of the island a bit quicker.
Caller Live, good morning, welcome, and thanks for your patience.
Yes, good morning, GT. Good morning to Mr. Mac.
Yes, ma'am.
From listening to the woman that called with the car, the 1-month-old car, and the jab. I believe that this year should be the year when the people who are pushing the mantra that carnival is a unity between black people against massa, when they have seen, not carnival, jab, when they have seen what jab has done to their own brother, not to massa, to their own brother. Look at the wall by Tropicana. Look at the gate by the cinema next to Tropicana. You could see it was deliberately dabbed up. I mean, come on, where are we going with this jab thing? Our ancestors would have behaved like that? Well, then why don't they play jab in Africa? Why don't we hear about jab in Africa? You know? So I believe this year should be the year when we should stop and think and see where we're going with this jab thing. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
I think the caller is important, and the caller is supporting what we're saying, that the whole aspect of carnival and jab and where things and how things happen. There should be a wider discussion and consultation. I think it goes beyond just the Spice Mass Cooperation. I think the views of various stakeholders across country should be sort of solicited to give contributions as to how they think that could go, and whether or not what is happening does reflect through our culture.
So, Mike, something that was of concern during the carnival season was, the safety in terms of traffic.
Yes.
We saw numerous accidents.
Right.
Of course, the police decided they didn't have the fighting and all of that, but incidents of how it happened in terms of the accidents and so forth that have occurred. What more could be done in reference? What more could be said?
Yes.
And there's already been said a whole lot.
Right.
Let's take this caller and we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. McIntyre.
Good morning, sir.
DT.
Morning to you.
To the viewers and your listeners. I wasn't fully listening to the program because I was on a call, but I heard Mr. McIntyre say something which I strongly agree with. The thing about we want to have jab all during the year, something wrong with us. And somehow I think that the authorities should really put their foot down. Regardless of what people say, those things have the season and time. When you go it all the time, you dilute its value. But this is not the main thing I want to talk about.
Yes.
My main thing, Mr. McIntyre, is that I don't know how we will get our people to think in a way that somebody in Barbados, an official in Barbados, asks for us to become prepared, conscious, We need to find a way. And I keep saying that you must have a community development approach so that people will understand that in the face of the impending and the continuing threat, existential threat to us, we cannot do business as usual. Whether we're in the field of business or just a family or whatever, even church, we need to find a way. All that will be blown to pieces. I mean, every time I listen to the weather system, from one to the other, coming on right now. And there are some people who give very accurate things from beginning to the end. We need to develop a system that whereby people will feel confident and feel okay that they could take action that will be of value rather than, some people feel, well, there's nothing I can do. There's a lot we can do, even though we don't have the means in terms of the structure where we live and so on. But we should be able to feel, well, if water more than flour, we could, lean over to this or that, and feel comfortable because it's not going away, whether it's the heat or the hurricanes or, I'm not even talking about the earthquakes and so on, but we need to really get our people, and this, we only concern about threat. And party, I have nothing problem, especially with carnival and so on. I would support carnival, but we have to do it in an organized way. And also ensure that business doesn't pocket on people and, from the alcohol and drunkenness and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And the caller is making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
There's other aspects of things that we had to look forward to.
Right.
When the carnival do come around. You understand? Because as we talk, safety is incorporated in this also. And our preparedness, even though, we could be Carnival Tuesday and there could be a system outside.
And that's why we gave opportunity.
We put morale up.
That's exactly. And that's one of the reasons why we gave an opportunity for more callers to call this morning, because I wanted to raise the issue on general safety awareness, because we've had a very mild season so far, and we had a fantastic weather pattern during the masquerading period of Carnival. And the point we're going to expand on later on is how we can continue to be on top of our games for those kinds of emergencies, and how we can minimize in terms of what I'm going to recommend for accidents and other road safety issues.
We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. The issue of carnival, I think whether you are partaker of carnival or not, carnival is part of our culture, regardless of your spirituality or your religious leaning. And this has to be some give and take.
Yes.
And the issue though is, I think the notion that the folks are used to it that way, and certain aspects of carnival that way, and it will be a tall order to change that, is sort of a defeatist attitude. Because in life, part of life is adapting to the situation, and new information may come to play to be available that we did not have before. The population has increased, it may increase, the people participating, and there are a lot of factors come into play, and then that's why we are supposed to be adaptable. So I think we should not be the defeatist, have a defeatist attitude. Well, the use of that is a tall order. Nah, that's not a favorable way to start making changes in the positive direction. The other thing is with regard to the bumps, the speed bumps. I think it would be nice if it's a matter of routine that we have like signs prior to the speed bumps saying speed bumps ahead, and they should be readily visible. The other thing too, I think that we have to realize why do we have speed bumps, and I don't know the exact reason, but I will suspect that part of the reason is for public safety with regard to pedestrian crossing and so on. So when you look at the tongue and so on, it's very crowded. There are a lot of people moving about and so on, and so I think it will be you can argue that the speed bumps slow down traffic, but then you can also argue that traffic is needed to be slowed down for people to cross the street, especially when we don't have enough sidewalks. So we have to think of those, it's not that kind of linear way of approaching things in black and white. That does not necessarily apply. That's kind of cookbook without. Imagine if you go to a physician and everybody who has an abdominal pain goes to surgery. You got to take the whole history, look at the whole package, because then we go down a slippery slope where something happens, we go this way, another thing happens, we go the other way. And we can't please everyone at the same time, so that we need careful thoughts, careful planning, zoning issues and so on. And every opportunity we have, we should use it. When there's a hurricane and a building that's close to the street is destroyed and it's going to be rebuilt, that's an opportunity for zoning to come into play, to be applied, and so people will build further away from the street rather than allowing them to build right back on the street.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
So this caller could be a member of my team. He's really on point. I mean, the points made relevant. Very.
You have another caller. Caller your life. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning to you both. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This morning I'm just calling. I'm calling in defense of the jab this morning. While I do support the sentiments of the previous callers in terms of the lawlessness and the nudeness and the obscene language that we have heard over the past 2 or so months, as portrayed by what we call jab. This is not jab. Jab has lost its authenticity. The generation now does not understand what jab jab means. I think we lost jab jab when we started with the Blue Devils and the music on the truck. And when you go back and you look at what jab jab was back in the 90s and in the 80s, where you had drums and horns and people chanting and speaking about the issues of the day.
Okay.
We no longer have that. What we have now is rum, music playing on a DJ truck, people behaving well, destroying people's property. So what we need to do as a country is to have our government, starting from the top, start re-educating the masses about what jab jab is all about, because we're slowly, or maybe quickly, losing what jab jab is all about.
Okay.
We have also lost patwa because why? We, as the older persons, did not teach and pass on that generational knowledge. And the same thing happening with jab jab now, and it's losing its essence. So that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's good food for thoughts. I support what we were saying earlier on, that there is need for a greater symposium or town hall or consultation process across communities to get true feelings and input, so you can probably redesign, retweak, and as he mentioned, you might be losing essence of what should be the true culture.
That's so true. True. Let's take another caller, and then of course we'll be our final caller in this segment. Of course. Good morning to you, caller. You're live. Welcome.
Good morning, GT. How are you today? And good morning, Mr. McIntyre also.
Good morning,
Mr. McIntyre and GT. Carnival, say it was started in Grenada, and it go over to Trinidad by the French, right? And I guess Jab Jab started in Grenada too, and maybe go over to Trinidad. But what I realized that Jab Jab is not like before. Jab Jab used to be started the morning of Carnival Monday. In those days was in town. And when the cannon go off, everybody on the way. But now Jab Jab is crazy. All in the air, they're playing Jab Jab all in the road and so on. I think the government have to get together, put things together, and put a day they should supposed to start playing Jab. I feel a little time before Carnival, because Jab Jab doesn't have to practice. As Maypole and Wild Indian, they have to practice their songs and so on. They don't have to do that. They just start saying things. So I think they have to put something together and get the job. Stop this only playing job all over the place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
Yes.
Thank you so much this morning.
Again, technically, I mean, the callers make our program a lot easier, because they're really making the relevant contributions in terms of where we think things should go.
Yeah.
And it is pointing to one direction. Rethink, contribute, redesign maybe, or consolidate.
And our program always centralizes a lot on safety.
Right.
And thinking about it in terms of what the callers are saying, especially Jab Jab playing in the streets and stuff. Think about the safety issues that can develop there.
Yes.
Especially for drivers on the road.
Yes.
And so forth. Because you do that on a Sunday, or whenever you play that Jab Jab on a Sunday. No, the oils and stuff remains on the road. Could create issues for drivers on the road, later on that evening or the following day.
Well, you're right on that. You see, there's quite a number of implications some things out of turn can really cause, because it has effect on your emotions, your psyche, and all of that, in terms of even within the workspace and the work environment. There are certain things, certain action would push and generate a particular course that is not really designed for the time. Everything has a time and a space for it. In terms of what one of the callers just suggested in terms of controlling it to a certain point, I think the authority would have to find the better way of dealing with some things, because people tend to use what they say is the traditional way that job came about. They are defined by nature.
Yes.
And so they figure that if the authority says that we're going to control that, they're going to become more defiant. But I think you have to sell what you want to do in small bits. And the only thing in life that is really constant is change. And people find difficulty in getting to that. But it's how you sell the change, how you bring it across. And the whole aspect of the culture and safety is a matter of selling it, repeating it, and having it made available at the places and time when it should be. We're going to be speaking about what we need to do in terms of expanding on the safety issue and the information and so forth to deal with that. And that's one of the things that we need to speak about. And one of the ways to do that is to be able to have it consistent on and off. And when one thing is happening, how could we double it up? How could we have concurrent activities? How could we have carnival and not lose the safety issue of the hurricane season?
Yeah.
These are something that we have to be able to think about. And so you cannot be tunnel vision. It cannot be one track. Because, as you mentioned earlier, things can happen at any time.
You know, some folks may challenge you and say, well, we need to focus on one thing at a time.
We can't really.
We can't do. Some will say, we focus on carnival, we focus on carnival.
We can't do that.
But we can't do that in this day and time.
No, we are realistic.
Because there's lots of other things that should be given all the relevance at the same time while you're doing one.
And they will tell you that the modern trend is multitasking. Okay. And they will tell you that even the average person who works, they will tell you that one salary isn't cutting it. So they say you have to find some means of making a pankwai, or you have to do some side investment.
Something on the side.
So you, in many ways, it is pointing to you cannot be one track.
I agree.
You have to multitask, and you have to be able to think beyond and at more than one thing at one time.
All right. Yeah. We will take this call, and after this call, I'll of course take a break, and let's take this call. I guess we lost that call already.
Yes.
We drew for a break. Of course, I hope Master Control is ready for me on this segment. But we drew for a break. Let's take it, and we coming right back. Don't touch it out, folks.
Looking for milk.
Welcome to the Intra-African Trade Fair 2025, the gateway to abundant opportunity, the platform for more, access to a continent with more makers and creators, more technology and manufacturing capabilities, more innovators and collaborators, more information and knowledge, a continent of opportunities for business in more markets and resources that accelerate progress and create space for more infrastructure, connectivity and networking, more creativity, production, and more deals for the people. Afrexim Bank, in collaboration with the African Union Commission and the AFCFTA Secretariat, brings you the 4th Intra-African Trade Fair, hosted by the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. Over 2,000 exhibitors, 35,000 plus attendees, 140 plus countries, $44 billion in trade and investment opportunities. Register now and enter the gateway to new opportunities.
Grenlec Community Partnership Initiative.
We are here at T Rose Square. What we've seen here is a very large outpouring of the various bands playing the traditional mass. And this has been made possible through the kind assistance and contribution of Grenlec. So on behalf of Spice Mass, we just want to say a very hearty thank you to Grenlec for this significant contribution.
Grenlec, energizing our community.
Are you ready to take charge of your money, build wealth, and protect your family's legacy? Then join us on October 9th, 2025 at Radisson Grenada Beach Resort for your Financial Future 2.0, Legacy, Literacy, and Liberation, a one-day financial summit designed to break cycles, build wealth, and leave a lasting legacy. You'll gain real-life budgeting hacks, a money mindset reboot, steps to create generational wealth, and practical tips on investing, estate planning, insurance, health, and business finance, all from expert speakers who know how to turn knowledge into action. With 2 inspirational keynotes, 3 powerful panel discussions, and 6 breakout sessions, you will leave with your personalized action plan for success. Don't wait. Secure your seat today. Tickets are EC $350 at disruptiveleadershipconference.com/YFF. Your Financial Future 2.0. Your next chapter starts here.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. Of course, our program today seems to be on a little bit more of a somber note, you understand, but of course, we are getting the information out in terms of what we do. You wanted to expand, Mr. Mac, in terms of the safety aspect that you were speaking about earlier. I mean, you want to expand on that, of course.
We're talking about road traffic and the accidents that the police spoke about.
Yes.
And what we can do differently. We'll take that caller, could we?
Let's
we'll go on it. Yes.
Caller, your life. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Someone said, I don't usually like to comment on what people said. Jab don't have to practice. That is that person's experience. But as far as I'm concerned, some jobs, or the majority of them, practice to have the shan't. That's one. But what is happening with us in Grenada? We have, with the exception of likely to this Mr. with you, he seems to have some knowledge and skill and good attitude to in the field in which he has been managing. Now, we cannot take people that haven't got the skill, the knowledge, the attitude, and plus, to do a work just because he comes to you for a work and he has 40 CXC. You shouldn't be doing that. And not because he is your friend or because he voted for you. I think this is the major problem, The major problem is we employ people who cannot do the work that they've been placed in. So this is one thing we must do. Tell the people who come to us for work, or you are ministers, when I say ministers, and even those permanent secretaries, give them perhaps a test in the field in which they say they know so much and they know too much. Because I always comment on someone who is in culture and giving me, not us, because some of us cannot identify the mistakes, irrelevant information. As for example, when the slave sale was abolished. And I would tell people in the world that slave trade in the British Commonwealth was never abolished in 1834. The laws were passed in 1834 and was to take effect in 1838. I'll finish with that. You see, I always like to back what I said with experience. What I do know, even in Grenada, we have a lot of people committing themselves by skilling. There is some reason for that, or there are reasons for that. It is because it is likely to be because we have people that are placed to prevent. I
think your conversation has started to stray a little bit in terms of where the way we're going in this morning. You understand?
And the
time. So I want to thank you a whole lot. We all appreciate your contribution as much. Let's continue, Mr. Mack, in terms of where we were this morning.
So you raised the issue of the safety on our streets at Carnival and at other major events, which is critical. And how could we have could we do different? I remember your question very well. And one of the things we don't report, in my opinion, and our foundation is intending to take that up a bit more focused, is the aspect of producing the statistics as to the contributing factors.
Yeah.
And one of the things I believe is the people returning from the diaspora, otherwise our visitors, they do, in some cases, they do not meet in the accident, but sometimes they create it based on the way they drive and how they do. And I've seen some of the accidents that you wonder, how did that accident occur?
Yep.
And you can see people are sometimes they're veering too much on a particular side of the road, whether or not they have been checked sufficiently as to the license that they have, and maybe in some cases we may have to kind of vet persons when they apply as to what territory they may have driven in before.
Because if you are constantly on the left or the right driving, you come to an island, somehow it takes you a while before you get to the normal.
That's correct.
Country.
And if you're used to driving on open freeway based on where you live and just straight roads, it will be difficult to move on the winding roads here sometimes. And the age factor and the other identified contributing factors to what may cause the accidents. These are some of the things that we need to statistically produce. Even before some season present itself. And the information process and the contributing factors must be highlighted a bit more so that we could prevent them. And I don't think we hear enough about the safety issues.
You know, you're right about that, Mr. McIntyre. You know, sometimes we reach it from the traffic department, Carnival is arriving. I think where we have the aspect of social media and all of these things now, where you could be speaking to visitors in a way, or putting all those information.
Yes.
You know, keeping them abreast, say, we drive on the right, or we do this here, or we do this here.
Yes.
Which makes them create an alertness now when they arrive and they do have to rent that vehicle and to move around.
Correct.
It sort of brings a way of them knowing, hey, this is what we do here. And they don't have to pick up along the way. You know, sometimes you have to pick up along the way as you're driving. You realize, oh, I should be driving on the left, or should be driving on that side.
Right.
You understand?
And in some cases, the use of electronics by some attractive mean, flashing with information, we could create that a bit more, and we can generate even the hard or the still ones. We can put them up in prominent places where we know people would be. Like for instance, around the Wall Street area and in the tourist belt where people assemble quite a bit. The south of the island, some of the attraction sites and so forth. A person may move from the hotel and they may not receive a particular information, but they may go to an attraction site and they may spend some more time there.
Yeah.
But while they're there, if they are able to, they're looking around, but this strike them. They read that information off. It goes fresh now back into their memory. I need to be able to do that. And you move to the other side and you see something similar. So in that kind of a way, it really keeps the information fresh. Our program is my case in point. People have expressed, because of what we do every week, we highlight the issue of safety. They said on more than one occasion,
create a level of alertness.
A level of alertness and awareness and consciousness. People say, you know, now that you guys speak about this, I become more aware, more conscious of some things on our street because I'm hearing it a bit more often. So I think aspect of this, we need to be able to, like, now we've not heard about any tropical wave or system threatening our area directly, but we have some a little bit further north of us. But we're not hearing a lot about those preparedness measures and that kind of information going on now. That's a kind of a time now that we should be able to be speaking about it, not just when it approaches.
Should be bombarded with that.
So the information throughout, you have to find the ways and the opportunities and find a way, slide them in. And in the middle sometime of some nice festivity, people, why would you want to come and tell us about safety and exits and all that in the middle when we are gyrating and jamming someplace? You put it in when people, but you know, and cause people to think.
I agree.
So we have to revisit our strategies, and I think one of the means is to make things obvious and make them more readily available and have them more consistent.
I agree with you there, so because you know the information been slipped in the time, as you mentioned, there's a particular event. But what's wrong with saying, you know, we're in hurricane season? Make sure that you're prepared when you leave here. Go make sure you have this and make sure you have that. Somebody says that way of deviating their minds from other, but it has some relevance, and when you look at it, it has some relevance.
And like somebody mentioned this morning about what the jab has done to the walls by Tropicana and some places and so on. I think, again, even on that same wall, maybe somebody should put up a sign.
Don't deface the wall or something.
And
it will make a difference.
And the whole issue of when the carnival is over, you have to try to propagate that you're not preventing people from masquerading or having a good time, but let them know that Grenada has to continue, and your actions could send us back a couple of years by something foolish that you did because you had a few bitter liquor and other things in your system.
All right. We only have approximately about 3 more minutes left. Of course, on today's program, we'll give our listeners a few opportunity once again. We'll have an extended one for them this morning. If you want to make a contribution, I hope it's along the line of our conversation this morning. Right. Let's say good morning to the caller. Caller, alive. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody?
Everybody's all right. Good morning.
No, I told them on the air for the past about that jab thing. Take out this thing they call tar. And we have black George and black pants, and they're pretty okay. And if the streets stay clean and everybody buildings stay clean, but they do tar until Christ come. They will put tar and oil until Christ come.
I think
you know how changing that silence? That's the system we're dealing with.
I think it's
the whole tongue dirty job, all about dirty with tar, about all the old garbage on the street, and the man leaving it afterwards. What we going at the people? So we ain't getting wise. Black jersey, black pants, blue pants, blue jersey, and the colors and the clean. Tar, paint, and the whole place dirty and come out to waste taxes and money and kill people and put us as sun on the road. So come on, man, where we go with that? We ain't going nowhere with that, we just we die from slavery days of the country. But you go change our different things what's going on right now? A different method in doing things, different way you do in the past.
Thank you, Kola. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, fine. Maybe just use the T-shirt and forget.
Well, it depends. Again, the conversation is what we really want. What does our culture speak to? Because somebody may tell a boy the authentic job is a job that comes out with they used to call it cola in those days, the tar. And they used to tell you from the pitch deck, the tar that used to be on the street. And when you see a real black job with tar and he's shining, they would tell you that is a devil mask. And then some people tell you, well, job started with the cockroach bag and then the charcoal and so forth. And that is where, so there are different things in terms of what you want to be. Carnival is, somebody need to really describe Carnival.
Yeah.
And maybe Spice Mass Corporation.
It goes back to what someone mentioned earlier also, I think from our ancestry and the folks who did this before, I don't think they handed down in a particular manner that it allowed the continuation of it the way it should have been in the authentic way.
Right.
I think that maybe were the cases. Because then everyone is just reinventing it for their own self.
Right.
We do have another caller. Caller live. Good morning. Maybe our final caller for the morning. Caller live.
Good morning. I think to alleviate some of the accidents, the humps should be painted.
To alleviate some of the accidents, the hump should be painted. Is that what you're saying, caller? I think the caller has left us. But not all accidents do happen on humps, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm trying to relate. And if she has statistics or evidence that shows that humps cause accidents, and somebody mentioned that when you look at and you analyze why humps and sleeping policemen and pedestrian crossings are created, they are safety factors.
Yes.
And if they're not serving their purpose, obviously, at the place they are and how they are established, you need to recreate them. And we think that, one, humps are for slowing down.
Yeah, of course. And I'm looking at a comment from someone here on the WhatsApp. They're saying, good morning. The individual saying tomorrow he'll be 65 years old. So happy birthday in advance. And he's saying what the people are talking about in reference to Jab Jab, we'll never see Jab Jab return to the days or the times of the past. That's what he's saying.
Right. So do we need to go back to the times of the past? Or do we need to redesign or retweak what we call Jab Jab?
More or less, I think we need to redesign. Maybe. Mr. McIntyre, it's already 10 a.m. So about time for us to take a wrap for today. It's always a pleasure having the conversation in the morning. Safety is our pivotal conversation we do. Had a slight tweak this morning. We can implement other things in between, but of course it was always good conversation, I would say.
So one of the aspects of road safety that we want to be able to highlight, excuse me, I think within the last 2 weeks we had a situation where the law and the penal system come into play in terms of violation of road traffic laws, etc. And it is one of the new courses that we want to be able to champion that we hope would work in the favor of the victims. Okay. We believe that in a lot of ways, and our legal minds and so on, we would sit down with them to have some discussion as to how we can advocate for legislation, laws, and so on to be tweaked more towards the victim rather than towards the assailant or the offenders. Okay. In a lot of ways, we believe that justice is not obviously obvious. And so from recent results and proclamations, etc., we believe that a lot need to be done to create the deterrent and to give some sense of justice and satisfaction to people who are on the other side of being further victimized. Victims are further victimized because in most cases aspects of what the law speaks to does not seem to work. in your favor, and it has to do with.
I mean, we talk in relation to folks, contributing factors of nature, but sometimes it goes across the board.
Yes,
there are a lot of incidents where the law is not favorable, especially towards the victims.
Yes, and I also think that the process of making the public become more aware, in particular about the road safety issue where the law is concerned, and I think the recent turns of things make people feel unsafe on our roads because of things that happen, and they also feel that the law is not in your corner. And then the custodians of the law, the way they execute aspect of it, it leaves a lot sometimes to be desired as to how you get that aspect of protection, that give you that safety net that you want to be open on the roads, you want to drive in particular way, you want to jog or walk in particular way, or whether or not you should do or not to do. So that forms part of our going forward conversation in terms of road safety and the law.
All right. And we get into that much more as the weeks and comes around. We do the program. We certainly will get into that. So McIntyre, once again, thank you, sir.
A pleasure.
All right. Hey, Grenada, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Join me again tomorrow for another. That's why I say goodbye.